Hey there, it's Kat and this is Brews and Reviews. So today I'm going to be filming a tag video. It actually feels like ages since I've done a tag video, so here we go. So I was tagged in the Do You Know Your Slang tag by Mel from a Book Fiend Named Mel. She's the creator of this tag and tagged me in it, so I'm very excited to actually get to this tag. So the way that this tag works is that Mel has provided 8 words or terms, and I need to give a definition for what I think that that word means when it's used as slang. And then I need to talk about a book that fits with my explanation of that word. So we'll see how that goes, because I feel like I was in a certain mood when I wrote down the answers for these questions, and I'm not, you'll see. You'll see. So the first word is shook, and I interpret that to mean, like, I was shocked, but like a lot, to a very high extent. I was shocked. This book had me shook. You know, I don't know, I'm bad at explaining words, the definitions of words, which is terrible because it's literally my job, but like... So the book that I picked to represent this word was The Book of M by Peng Shepherd. I can't really tell you why I was shook by this book, simply because it's a massive spoiler for the end. It's something that happened very, very close to the end in the last couple of pages, and it had me going like, wait, excuse me? What? I was really mad about it, but also not mad about it because I was like, oh, well, damn. It was definitely something that I didn't expect to happen, and it shook me, and it's one of the biggest things that I remember from reading this book, and I will never forget that. So if you want to be shook by a book, pick this one. Not me forgetting to tell you what this book's about. If you want to be shook, pick it up. But I'm giving you no explanation for this book at all. No description. So this book is a post-apocalyptic book set in a world where people lose their shadows, and once they lose their shadows, they also lose their memories. And also some sort of weird magical realism sort of thing happens when they forget things. Like if they forgot that deer weren't blue, then blue deer would start to appear, and there's obviously way more dangerous versions of that. But it's really interesting, really good book, and yeah, the ending shook me. So the next word is ship, and that stands for relationship. And I often see it used in terms of wishing for a relationship to occur between two characters rather than them already being in a relationship. So it's like when you want those two characters to be together, you ship them together. So yeah. So would anyone be surprised right now if I answered Darklina? The Darkling and Alina? No, you wouldn't? No? Okay, I'll give you a real answer then. So my actual answer for this is Rune and Adam from the Tarot sequence. This is the second book because I lent the first book to my friend and I still don't have it back. This book is set in New Atlantis, and it's an urban fantasy based on tarot cards, magical powers. They're a creepy thing. Rune St. John is the main character of the series, and he is the last of the Sun Throne, and him and Adam are just so adorable. I can't get over it. I don't want to say anything more because of spoilers. I just love them so much, and I will be really mad if they're not the endgame ship for the series. I'll be so sad. So the next word we have is stan, which stands for an obsessive fan, and I don't know if I would necessarily call myself a stan of anything. I know, I could say Shadow and Bone, but also, like, I'm not, like, I am obsessed, don't get me wrong, but I'm not obsessed to the extent that I don't, like, follow a lot of the cast interviews and things like that, because, like, real people don't interest me that much, apparently. Just the fictional characters. I'm not sure what that says about me, but, yeah. So I can't really give you anything that I stan. I guess you could kind of say that I am a Shadow and Bone stan, but also, I don't know, maybe? I don't know. I feel weird about using this word because I feel like it has negative connotations attached to it, and I'm really not sure why. I think it's usually because people who are stans of things take it a little bit too far and they're not respectful of people's boundaries and things like that. So I'd rather just be an obsessed fan than an obsessive fan, if that makes any sense. I don't know if the distinction is clear. It's in my head, but I don't think those were the right words to say. But we're gonna say them anyway, that's what we're going with though. Let's move on! So the next phrase is cinnamon roll, and that is somebody who is too sweet and too pure for this world. So the character that I'm going to be talking about who is a cinnamon roll is Bitty from Check Please. He's just so sweet, so cute. He makes pies for everyone. He wants to make sure everyone's included, and it's just, oh, Bitty. I feel like if you've read Check Please, then you totally understand where I'm coming from, and if you haven't, then you really should, because it's great. What are you doing? Read it. So the next word we have is trash. Like, I don't know how to explain this one properly, and I don't know why. This one just really stumped me on getting the words out. So it's like something that I adore and I'm trash for when talking about it. So like, I am worthless when talking about it, slash in comparison to the thing, in a sense. I don't think that's a very good description of that one. I use the word trash all the time and I'm like, yeah, it's just trash. But then, brain, no function, no words, explainy. So we're just going to whiz past this one really quickly and say Dark Boys and David Gemmell. So the next word is salty, and I interpret that as bitter or mad about something that has happened. I am super salty that this thing happened. So mostly I'm salty about my favourite characters pretty much always dying in everything. It just happens a lot and I'm really salty about it. I can't help it. It makes me really mad. But I do have a specific book that I am salty about, and it's this series, the King Killer Chronicles by Patrick Rothfuss. Now the reason that I'm salty about this is that we've been waiting on this third book for 10 million years now, and I don't think it's ever going to come out, and I'm salty because when it eventually does come out, I'm going to have to read this tome and the sequel chunker just to remember what happened. So I'm salty that I bothered to read it at this point in time, which I liked it was fun. I really liked the books. I'm just mad that I'm gonna have to read it again, so yeah. So next up we have Lit, which I interpret as amazing, great, it's on fire, it's so cool. Yeah, for some reason I just didn't write down an answer for this one, and my brain is like, shadow and bone, shadow and bone. So we'll just pretend that that's not the answer that I gave. So I'm going to name a book that I really enjoyed that I read recently, and that was Into the Drowning Deep by Mira Grant. I just really enjoyed the science, the horror, the anticipation, the creepy creatures, that sort of thing. I thought like the majority of that book was lit. That word just doesn't come out of my mouth right, it just doesn't sound like I should be saying that at all. I think I'm too old. So the last word on this list is tea, and that's the gossip. Spill the tea, spill the gossip, give me the good gossip goods. The good gossip goods? Spill the tea. This isn't tea, it's coffee. I can't spill it. I mean, actually I do regularly wave it around like this, and I'm sure I'm making a lot of you nervous right now. Are you nervous? Are you nervous? Ooh. Sorry. So the book that I'm going to pick for this one is specifically because I've seen so many memes about this. When I finished this series, I started looking at memes for it, and everyone was like, oh, sis loves to spill the tea, and it was the Surreal from the Akhtar series. The Surreal's kind of a gossip, has all the information that some people might need to know. Loves to spill the tea. So that's the book that that phrase reminds me of. I can't get that out of my head. I just really can't. So there we have it. That was the Do You Know Your Slang tag. I actually had a lot of fun with this, even though I'm really bad at actually giving definitions of words, apparently. So I'm going to give an open tag for this video. If you want to do this video, then you should definitely do it because it was a lot of fun. And I'm sure you can find some better recommendations than me, whose brain was stuck on Shadow and Bone and Dark Boys. I can't help it. Anyway, if you enjoyed this video, please leave a like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!